Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to the Pro Wrestling Post podcast. On this week's show,
AEW Dynamite celebrates its first full year on air. We have our thoughts about the Collective's series of shows over the weekend. And
in WWE news, we look back at the major draft happenings. All that and more. Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to the Pro Wrestling Post podcast. I'm your host, Mark Blake, and with me is my friend from across the pond, Pete Moon. How are we doing there, Pete?
a little chilly, but that just comes with the change of the weather. Otherwise, yeah, good as usual.
Excellent. Some of you may be asking where the other friend from across the pond, Mark Madison, is. He is actually on assignment today. Look for his pieces on the site very soon. He should be back next week, as long as he gets back from Turkmenistan or wherever he's gone. I'm not too quite sure where he's gone. I think he's looking at Borat country.
Oh, I thought he was undercover again.
No, I think he's helping Borat in some promotion for his new film next week. Is it next week? I'm not too sure. But anyway, keep an eye out for Mark. Look at his socials. And he should be back, touch wood, next week. But we will carry on regardless without him. Let's jump straight into it. WWE. We mentioned last week that, well, we didn't actually mention, we sort of blared it from the rooftops that the WWE draft, it was going to happen. It has now happened, both days. The SmackDown side, the Raw side. What did you think, mate?
There's a bunch I like. There's a lot I don't like. Overall, it's fine. Let's talk about some of the stuff I like. I like that Kevin Owens is coming to SmackDown because that means he can reignite his feud with Sami Zayn. And with the roles reversed, I think that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, for sure. We spoke about this briefly last week about how we all three of us wanted this, and the wrestling gods have listened to us and given it to us. So hopefully, somewhere down the line, we get to see that feud reignite.
I also I like that The Fiend and Bray Wyatt is coming to Raw. I like that, last episode of the podcast, I mentioned that it's usually the Intercontinental and US championships that switch brands on draft night. But this time I was pleasantly surprised that the tag team champions swapped brands.
Yeah, that was strange. Not the fact that they swapped brands, but they've just handed over the titles. In a backstage segment. I mean, does that sort of not say that we really don't care about the division that much?
Yeah, because really, if they can just exchange the belts, doesn't that mean they're literally interchangeable?
Exactly. That's the so-called hidden meaning I got coming from that segment backstage as well. It's very strange. Anything else take your fancy that you liked from either brand?
Matt Riddle on Raw, I think is interesting. Sheamus on Raw, long overdue, in my opinion. And well, the other interesting things I can speak on are the things that I don't feel as hyped about.
Go for it. Go on.
So let's start with Rey Mysterio, Dominic Mysterio, Seth Rollins, and Buddy Murphy coming over to SmackDown now. I'm not happy about feuds just moving across to another brand. I think that is just kind of lazy. You're not really making anything new. You're just transplanting something that already existed.
Yeah.
Now, I understand that could also bring Raw viewers over to SmackDown, but that also kind of assumes that people aren't watching both. And I think for the majority of the people who are coming back week after week, that's just not the case. People do watch both. The New Day are split up.
That's gut-wrenching.
Yeah, I knew this day was going to come eventually, and I kept saying to myself, it's not going to be this time. It's going to be
going
to be a while down the road, and now that it's finally here, I'm
Do you know, in my opinion, do you know what makes that works? Is that there wasn't even like a turn. There was no major falling out. It was, oh, we're just splitting you up on different brands. Bye. That is so depressingly, gut-wrenchingly soft and no, not for me. Not for me. If there's going to be a split, it should be a hard split.
We didn't even get a real farewell to the New Day.
No.
Like that could have been a segment unto itself. You know, the New Day are splitting up. We need to say goodbye in proper fashion, and that we didn't. Kind of makes me wonder how valued they are, even though they've been shining in a languishing tag division for the last 5 years now.
Yeah. The spotlight was well and truly on them, and now, since Woods got injured and Kofi got thrust into the main event scene and so on and so forth, the spotlight was slowly fading away, and now it's literally just, well, thanks for the time, fellas. Here you go. You're on Raw. You're on SmackDown. Bye bye.
I honestly hope they give Big E something better than what he had in his last singles run.
He's got to, surely,
because really, like, he seemed like he was going nowhere until he joined up with the New Day. And I think what worked best about them is that they were truly just three best friends having a blast on TV.
Yeah.
You know, that's something I heard Kevin Nash said once. You know, the whole reason everyone gets into wrestling is to, what was it? To watch yourself wrestle, to put your friends over, and to make money.
That's right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know that one. I heard that today, actually. What was I listening to? I was listening to a podcast today, and they were saying, they was talking about Scott Hall, saying you either get into the business to make money or make friends, and he was in it to make money. Mm-hmm. And then obviously they made friends. They're lifelong friends, and they just looked completely crestfallen with the announcement. Mm-hmm. There's so many pictures going around, and I read a tweet somewhere that a parent had written. Had sent them who was it? Sent Woods a photo on Twitter stating that his 7-year-old wrote this and he was completely gutted that they were split, and Woods didn't know what to say. And it's they were such a shining light for kids and for, well, I'm going to beat their bandwagon now, for positivity.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they're trying to spin it and say, oh, well, we're on 2 brands now, so we've got double the positivity, but I don't know. I worry about them on Raw now. But Big E, going back to what you said, Big E surely is going to get that push. Everyone's been saying for a while now that Big E's going to get that push. Is he going to be the one that steps up to Roman at some point if the Rock thing doesn't happen at Mania? I don't know. It'd be good.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of wonder if he's gonna. I think before he steps up to Roman Reigns, he's probably gonna accomplish some more in the mid card.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's gonna maybe take the Intercontinental Championship for a little bit and prove that he hasn't lost a step as a singles wrestler, and kind of start building towards maybe a shot against Reigns down the line. Do we want to talk about some of the people who went undrafted?
There's some names on that free agency list.
There are some serious names on that free agency list.
I'm looking at it now. I'm thinking, how did they not get signed? It's strange.
Mm-hmm. So we're looking at this list here. We got Andrade, Bo Dallas, Mickie James, all people who really should have been drafted somewhere.
Yeah, like for sure.
Andrade and Mickie James, obviously, could have just stayed on Raw, really. Mm-hmm. Bo Dallas, he hasn't been seen in almost a year, so he's kind of fallen off the radar. But you know, he's still with the company. There's nothing wrong with him. He's just not there.
Yeah, nothing. Creative has nothing. God. If there's ever a death knell for someone, it's definitely those bloody words.
Mm-hmm. We're also missing Ivar, Jimmy Uso, and Jinder Mahal, but those guys are injured right now.
Yeah, I can see Jimmy going over to SmackDown anyway, because that's where obviously Jay is, and they'll be teaming up. But Ivar, I mean, was it Eric's injury is like a 9-month injury.
It's Ivar, and he's got a neck
Sorry, Ivar.
injury.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, he's got a neck injury.
And that's pretty nasty. And then you got you've there's a name on here that says it's Mercedes Martinez, aka Retaliation of Retribution.
Yeah, no, quietly removed from Retribution, returning
Yeah.
back to NXT as Mercedes Martinez.
That's very strange. Why? Why kick her out and why keep it under the radar? It's
we've been talking about the emotions that have happened with Retribution lately, and really nothing's given us any reason to really think this is gonna turn into something big.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe she's going to get her own retribution, huh?
Retribution on Retribution.
Who else is on here on this list? You've got Edge, but then he's pretty much a part timer, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
You've got Edge. Same could be said for Big Show, and then you've got for some reason you have Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch on this list. Now I'm not sure if the people who are doing the draft understand that Becky Lynch is probably quite heavily pregnant by now.
Mm-hmm.
So she's not going anywhere. And I think Ronda is still trying to get pregnant. So why put them on the list? That's very strange.
I think there's people who just got kind of quietly removed from the draft pools, even if they were or were just not included.
Good due diligence work there by WWE staff. Great work there. Who else is on here? You've got, oh my word, you've got Mojo Rawley, which to be fair isn't really an issue because I don't know anybody who likes Mojo. Sonya Deville, I mean, when the women's divisions on both Raw and SmackDown are light, and you've got Sonya as well as Mickey, as you just mentioned, still undrafted, what the hell? Strange. And then I'm going to finish up, because we spoke about this before we come on air. We'll finish up with the Forgotten Sons, who are Jackson Riker, Steve Cutler, and Wesley Blake. And if you've forgotten them, don't worry, because obviously WWE Creative have as well. So yeah, what do you think? What do you think overall of the draft? Who do you think's got the better roster?
I hate to really just whittle it down to two guys, but honestly, Owens and Zayn, SmackDown's got the better roster. Question mark? Good, because you also got you're also looking at Daniel Bryan. You're also looking at Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura. You're looking at Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. So going by that, Kalisto, Murphy, Sasha Banks, Roman Reigns in this new heel role. It's going to be interesting to see if he has any clashes with Seth Rollins, who's coming over now. And that's really my thoughts.
I mean, overall, personally, I'm with you. I think overall, SmackDown has got the more balanced roster. But then you look at Raws. You've got Drew McIntyre, you've got Asuka, you've got AJ, you've got the Raw Women's Tag Champs, which obviously means nothing, but it's like Nia Jackson, Shayna Baszler. You've got the Hurt Business, you've got the New Day over there now. I mean, they're all pretty damn big names. You've got Bray there. How can I forget Bray and Randy? Braun's over there now. Retribution's there. Keith Lee, Sheamus. The list goes on. There's a lot of star power there, but after that star power, it goes a bit thin. You've got. I'm trying to see. You've got. And this is not a knock on any of these people at all. I'm saying that this is thin for storyline reasons because they haven't been built up. So you've got people like Drew Gulak, who's been involved in the 24/7 for a few months now. You've got Elias, who's just come back, and I think they're going to push him into an upper mid card role. Titus O'Neil, who's done Sweet FA. Akira Tozawa. Riddick Moss, your guy from last week, Arturo Ruas, is on Raw.
Dabba-Kato officially on the roster.
Dabba-Kato, yeah. It's a bit, how can I put it? Lopsided is the better way. But as you said, with SmackDown, you've got a more balanced roster.
And I know it almost seems like a lot of these names are kind of there to make up the 24/7 division.
Hey, look, as long as R-Truth is still champ and still making me laugh, I am all for it. Did you see him on the the Raw after show. I forgot what it's called. Raw Talk.
I did not.
He was. It was just a quick video someone posted on Twitter. He was talking to AJ, and AJ's saying, "Oh yeah, I'm over on Raw now," and R-Truth said something along the lines of, "So what are you gonna use over here?" And AJ looks genuinely bemused. He's like, "What are you on about?" And R-Truth was like, "Well, what kind of stuff are you going to use to build the house over here? Because you built a house on SmackDown, so you got to build a house on Raw." He just kept throwing AJ off, and it was so funny. He was doing it to make AJ corpse, and it was so hilariously funny, so good. And then the video cut out. I'm going to repost it when this goes out, so you lot can have a look.
It reminds me of that time with Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles on Talking Smack. When Daniel Bryan outed AJ Styles as a flat earther.
Sorry, R-Truth is the king. Ever since he came out, what was it? It was the Money in the Bank announcement, and you had like all 6 or 8 competitors in the ring, and R-Truth come out thinking it was the Royal Rumble or something along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, he had me ever then. But so that's Raw and SmackDown and WWE in general done. There's not really much going on this week apart from the draft and the fallout from the draft. Obviously, we're recording this on a Thursday night, and SmackDown is tomorrow. And I think it's something. Is it the season 2 premiere on Fox tomorrow night?
Yeah,
I'm sure I saw that today.
We're getting close to that. I'm surprised they're bringing back the season premiere idea, because I thought that was definitely something they would have abandoned after, when was it? 2015. They announced that they were going to have the season premiere of Monday Night Raw, and then they never acknowledged it ever again.
I think this is a Fox thing. I think because Fox have got a pre-show before SmackDown. No, it's before. I don't know which bloody network has got it now, but there's a pre-show either before SmackDown or Raw this week or next week for Raw, and Renee is back, but she's not employed by WWE. She's employed by. It's got to be Fox.
Yeah.
So she's on the pre-show tomorrow with Booker T. So her first gig after WWE is actually
WWE.
It's WWE, yeah, bless her. But this is from a Brit. We don't understand all this season premiere stuff. It's just we keep being told it's a continuing, Raw is the longest continuing episodic program. For a season to, surely you'd have to stop and then restart to class as a season, which is same as SmackDown. But hey ho, it's a Brit thing. That's Raw done, and SmackDown done, and WWE in general done. We're now going to go back to last weekend. Well, you may have heard us mention it on last week's pod. We spoke about Game Changer Wrestling's The Collective, which was a whole weekend of shows. I think there was 12 in total under the GCW banner. And we previewed a hell of a lot of them, including yourself. We're going to talk a couple of the main shows. We're going to talk about Joey Janela's Spring Break 4 and Josh Barnett's Bloodsport 3. Let's go and talk about Joey Janela's Spring Break 4. I love Joey Janela. It's on record that I love the guy. Spring Breaks have always been fantastically awesome and wacky kind of shows.
Yeah, they're really a highlight of the WrestleMania weekend, or at least for a show that isn't put on by WWE.
Yeah. And this weekend, or last weekend, sorry, there was the number 4. I haven't fortunately watched any of The Collective because my day job has been kicking my ass. But you have. What thoughts, feelings, takeaways have you got from Spring Break 4?
Full of surprises as always. We saw Orange Cassidy take on Ricky Shane Page in that first match, and that was something I didn't see coming. Because I thought Orange Cassidy was like full time with AEW now. I thought he had finished all his indie dates and he was just going to be, the next big thing in AEW, which we'll touch on that later, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, 8 minutes. He got a pin with his little crucifix reverse thing there that he does. Then we had Iron Beast, Kyle the Beast, and Shane Mercer versus the Radicals, Desmond Xavier and Zachary Wentz. Woo, boy, have you seen any of Iron Beast?
Unfortunately not, although since last weekend they have blown up on my Twitter. So
Oh
I
yeah,
have.
that is very, very good for them because it's like Bam Bam Bigelow and a young Brock Lesnar formed a tag team.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they're now on my watch list. I need to go and find some Iron Beast.
Yeah, because like the Radicals
Wow.
were able to put on a good show, but like they just couldn't face two people who were A, bigger than they are, and B, can do a lot of the same stuff.
That's insane.
Yeah. That's just that's just a thing that we wrestling fans can't get enough of is big men who can move.
Yes. Yeah, they were seen as the rarities, but now with like Keith Lee and others of that ilk, they're getting more and more prominent.
Yeah, we're coming into a world where you got a whole bunch of people who grew up watching Bam Bam Bigelow and Vader and even young Brock Lesnar when he was able to do shooting star presses, and all that's coming through in a way that I never could have expected, especially from big guys. I say this all the time. They just don't make big guys like they used to.
No, no, they don't.
Wrestlers put on a good show, but like I said, Iron Beast are just bigger and they can do a lot of the same stuff. I was pleasantly surprised by Jonathan Gresham versus Lee Moriarty because I've seen so many people talk about Jonathan Gresham as being kind of overrated. Now,
Really?
yeah, I've
Wow.
seen a lot of ROH naysayers, probably people who are just feeling kind of tired of how he's been booked. And maybe I haven't watched Ring of Honor in quite a while, but from this match, Jonathan Gresham is he's actually really good. He's in that Zack Sabre Jr. kind of mold, very very
Yeah.
technical, and from the way he strikes and some of the holds that he puts on, I'm wondering why he wasn't involved in Bloodsport. I want to see him. I want to see him in Bloodsport next year.
Well, hopefully we haven't got to wait a bloody year. It'll be taking place in like April. Hopefully, touch wood and everything else that's good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Gresham, I hadn't actually seen in Ring of Honor. I saw him over here. He was the original tag partner of Chris Brooks, and they formed CCK, who were a huge team over here. And Gresham, wow, yeah, that guy could go. This is going back
Mm-hmm.
about 3, 4, maybe even 5 years ago. And seeing Gresham do, as you said, the Zack Sabre World of Sport style kind of wrestling, he's really good. And then I saw him. I think he went back to America, and I think he was on Ring of Honor a fair bit, and maybe even MLW. I'm not sure.
I think he's still half the Ring of Honor tag champs, isn't he?
I'm not sure. I haven't caught up with Ring of Honor for so long. Yeah, Gresham is a talent and always has been. Whereas Lee Moriarty, I don't know anything about the guy, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's kind of coming up in the world of wrestling, it seems, because he was also on For the Culture. He was also on. Okay, yeah, he was in For the Culture, and he was at Spring Break. But still, he's been doing quite a bit for GCW. He's done a lot for Black Label Pro. He's he's been in the ring for 4 years, and looking like he's going places. Especially if he was able to last almost 21 minutes with Jonathan Gresham.
Oh, 21 minutes. Seriously?
Yep.
Oh, man. See, I need some time off from my day job just so I can spend a whole day just catching up on the collective. Really do. 21 minutes. Damn.
What else do we got here? Team Pazuzu. Chris Dickinson, Ortiz, and Santana. Great to see them back together for the first time in 2 years. Didn't put quite the beating I expected on Next Gen, but they did win. I think that time in Japan is maybe having some effect on Alex Zane and Blake Christian. seem to be putting some New Japan flair into their moves. Tony Deppen over Alex Shelley. I didn't expect that because Shelley's been kind of on a roll lately. Taken back since he's come out of retirement, taken back the Impact World Tag Team Championships, and he had that big win at Black Label Pro show that happened the week before.
That's right. It was the double shot, and I've totally forgotten the name of it. Damn it.
Leo Rush over ACH. I kind of expected Leo Rush's temper to get the better of him again. But they shook hands at the end, which, I think maybe just as two guys who left WWE under less than harmonious circumstances, I think they're kind of seeing a reason to unite, perhaps.
Is it me? Was Leo Rush kind of sort of mellowing out now? He's not as cocky and as angry and everything else that he was before, during, and slightly after his WWE run. He seems to have mellowed out a bit now.
Perhaps. And I think ultimately maybe starting something more friendly with ACH will be a benefit overall. However, this puts them at 1-1 in singles action, and they got to finish that off before they can team up.
They need that rubber match.
Yeah, like I'm glad they're friends, but come on, give us a finish. Now this one, Ricky Morton versus Joey Janela. Oh, I am surprised that Ricky Morton did all he did in that match, taking some pretty nasty bumps, taking some attacks with hardware, but like every time I see Ricky Morton, he keeps surprising me because he's able to fly, he's able to go, he's able to, like I saw him do almost like a sunset flip powerbomb off the top ropes to Joey Janela, and I was like, what the hell is going on here? That man is almost 70. Like, should not be doing the kinds of things he is.
It's the Terry Funk mentality, surely.
Perhaps.
You get to a certain age and you think, oh well, screw it. Let's go for it. It's got to be, surely.
It's almost enough to make me want to see the Rock and Roll Express versus FTR.
Do you know what? I can imagine that being a great match as well. I really can.
Phenomenal.
Absolutely
Absolutely phenomenal, especially with Tully Blanchard in their corner. Yeah, that he managed, and then to top it all off, he got the win. Defeated Joey Janela in his own pay-per-view.
Oh, that's insane. That is so good.
They went like almost 14 minutes. Just really good stuff from Ricky Morton, because he can just go for a while. It was like that. It's like a thing I heard Mick Foley say. It might have been in one of his books, that even though he was older, really, as long as he could go full tilt for 20 minutes, he's going to be fine.
Yeah.
And Ricky Morton really proven that sometimes that's all you need to do.
Exactly. You just live for the moment, just go full throttle, and then deal with the consequences later. Actually, it sounds like the story of my life.
There was certainly a phase in my life. Following that match, we had the am I allowed to say it, Mark?
Yeah, we can drop one F-bomb, so go for it.
Oh yeah, we got to keep that PG-13 rating. It was the Clusterfuck Battle Royal. That's what it's called. Also full of surprises. Like, I didn't expect Calvin Tankman to show up. I didn't expect who else did I see there? Effie, Gregory Iron, Mance Warner. I really should have been on the main show, if you ask me.
Mance Warner, bloody hell.
Shug D, Dominic Guarini, Kevin Koo. I think Dominic Guarini was announced. And Jody Threat was in it. And that always makes me happy. Maybe I have a crush, I don't know. Calvin Tankman, though, I gotta talk about Calvin Tankman because he went on a roll. He eliminated 10 people 4 of them at once. Or rather, should I say 2 of them, or two pairs of 2 at once.
Damn. The only thing I've heard about the cluster is there was a major square off between Yoshihiko and the Invisible Man. That's all I've heard on Twitter.
So to give some context, Yoshihiko is a blow up doll that they have matches with in DDT in Japan sometimes. Has held their Iron Man Heavy Metal Weight Championship quite a few times, and the Invisible Man, well, that just explains itself, really. So
I'm sorry, I'm sat here laughing my socks off because if we got people just listening to us for the first time and they'd be going, so a blow up doll has just wrestled the Invisible Man? Am I hearing that right? Yeah, you're hearing that right. Wrestling isn't just, big men, sweaty men and high flying. No. It's also blow up dolls and Invisible Men. Come on, catch up. This is 2020.
There's some serious art going on in the world of professional wrestling. You gotta open your mind.
Oh God! Seriously, guys, you got to watch this cluster F match. Mm-hmm. It sounds exactly as it's titled, basically.
It really is, and it grows every year. And finally, I actually have to confess that I was unable to watch the death match between Alex Colon and Matt Tremont. Because light tubes kind of squicked me out.
Oh, was it a lot of light tubes?
Yeah, there was a fair amount of light tube. It was a death match, but yeah. Sometimes that's a little hard to watch. But if it's your thing, it's Matt Tremont's last match. If you want to see him go out on a high note, then definitely worth watching.
See, I was okay with light tubes. And then I watched the David Arquette documentary film. When was that? About 3 weeks ago I watched that. And I saw him get jabbed in the head and the throat with a broken light tube. And the poor sod nearly died. No lie. He nearly died from blood loss. And then ever since then, I'm like, do you know what? Light tubes, not for me. Not for me. No. I was always growing up, obviously being young and carefree, I was like, yeah, I'll take a light tube to the head because all you see is a great big smash and a puff of white dust. You actually forget that sodding fiberglass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah.
That's dangerous to inhale. No.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
I may miss the main event of Spring Break 4. 2 minutes. I've read a couple of reviews and it does say that light tubes do get used a fair amount and there's a ton of blood and I'm not as my stomach is not as strong as it was when I was younger. Let's put it like that.
Yeah, that's very much the same for me because I used to be able to watch. Well, I used to be able to watch a lot of ECW, but yeah, that is. Ugh. So that's Spring Break.
Spring Break done. So from Blood and Guts, we're going to go to
Bloodsport. Yeah,
Bloodsport. Yeah.
Well, the good news about Bloodsport is that foreign objects are banned. Let's see some results that I was surprised by. Lindsay Snow taking the Bloodsport Women's Tournament Championship.
Wow.
I honestly didn't think. I honestly thought it was going to be Layla Hirsch because I saw her striking game, I saw her submission game, and I thought, you know what, this seems kind of like a lock for her, especially when you see the other competitors in this, Lindsay Snow, Killer Kelly, and Allison Kay. I just thought, comparatively, Layla Hirsch has it, and especially because she had beaten Lindsay Snow in the past, I figured that match was going to go very much the same, but it did not. Lindsay Snow defeated Layla Hirsch by submission, and then went on to submit Allison Kay for the final.
I mean, they were really quick matches, so I've been told.
Yeah, yeah, about 5 to 15 minutes each. Because Killer Kelly versus Allison Kay, that one went 12-19.
Yeah, see, that surprised me. I know Killer Kelly. I've seen her quite a few times over here, and yeah, I was very surprised to find out that she lost her semi. So
Hmm.
yeah, Lindsay Snow, she's the one to watch by the looks of it.
Hmm. And she's definitely got a look. Very, very muscular woman. She's got lots of tattoos. She cuts an imposing figure. I'd like to see her end up in AEW or WWE even, because I think she's just someone who could run roughshod over WWE's women's division, and someone who could put up a solid fight against a lot of the women in the AEW women's
Yeah, they're
division.
a bit. What's the word I'm looking for? Not lopsided, but a bit flaky in regards to legitimate badasses on either roster, on either show. Sorry, promotion
Mhm.
even. Lindsay Snow, from what I've seen and heard, she'd definitely go in there and crack some heads and kick some ass.
Mhm. What else we got on here? Calvin Tankman defeating Alexander James again. I think he had an excellent weekend.
He's another name that blew up on Twitter. He seemed to be working and has been working quite a lot in the last couple of months, and he's definitely made a name for himself.
That's 4 shows he did that weekend.
4, damn. Ooh. Just think he's just thinking of the money. That's what it is.
I mean, if
Make
you're an indie wrestler, that's where your stuff is. You get all
exactly. You
your.
got to make it where you can.
Uh,
Damn.
we had Tom Lawler got a win finally at Bloodsport because he's been at the last. He's at Bloodsport 2, and he was in the original Bloodsport, and he lost both times. I really like Tom Lawler, and I don't know why. He's just he just comes across as affable, and no matter what he does, even when he's being a UFC style so and so, as you like to
Hmm.
put it, Mark. Uh, he's just enjoyable in a way that the others aren't, and yeah, it defeated Homicide by submission.
I have heard nothing but praise about this match. I've been told it's one of the matches of the year as well.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Where I've seen, I'm not that I take a lot of people's ratings seriously, but I've been flicking away. Obviously, we do our due diligence, folks, and we do a bit of research before we jump on air. And I've looked about and trying to not aggregate some scores, but just see what other people thought about the Bloodsport show. I've read 5 different reviews, and when it comes to this Lawler Homicide match, there is not one review less than 4.5 out of 5 stars. That's how good they reckon this match was. So I'm thinking I need to get myself onto Bloodsport 3 and watch that before I go to bed tonight.
Very strong match. Disappointing match following Davey Boy Smith Jr. beating Josh Alexander by knockout. Ugh.
Ah,
You know how I
that
feel about local boys.
that blows.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Davey Boy could really use the win. Actually, I mean, he's undefeated at Bloodsport. So I mean, if they were going to build something with him, they may as well I don't know, maybe even put him in the main event next year to
Hmm.
or at the next Bloodsport to really highlight the fact that I think he's the only person who's undefeated at Bloodsport.
I mean, you've got MLW's restart coming next month, so that's a good strong showing before MLW comes back.
Yeah, very strong showing before MLW comes back. And then in the main event, John Moxley defeated Chris Dickinson by submission. I don't really see this going any other way. Just because Moxley is he's AEW World Champion, and he's not gonna go away quietly.
He ain't gonna lose, is he?
Yeah, not while he's on top.
But again, that's another match that I've heard was damn impressive.
Oh yeah, because it's John Moxley and Chris Dickinson. They're legends of the deathmatch arena. They were gonna brawl till one of them just couldn't anymore.
And
Uh, go ahead.
I was just saying that's exactly the kind of match that you want in the Bloodsport arena. That
Exactly.
kind of, take no names, take no prisoners even, and kick ass. Kind of leave it all in the ring.
Exactly. So yeah, there's our thoughts about the shows of the collective that we did see, or at least that I saw. I'm sure, like, there were other big shows that happened that weekend that I definitely want to see. Like, I'll probably go back and catch some of Effie's Big Gay Brunch and For the Culture.
Yeah, FEs and for the culture. That's as well as Bloodsport and Spring Break 4. They were the big four in my eyes, at least, that had to be watched. And damn you, day job, making me sodding work stupid hours. So I will endeavour to catch up with that in the next few days. Even though I'm at work again until Sunday, and on Sunday I want to sleep, but I won't. I will be watching some GCW collective shows. I think will they be on IWTV or anything like that? I'm not sure if they are.
They'll probably be available on Fight
On
still.
Fight. Yeah. Sorry.
And I imagine they'll be on IWTV eventually.
Yeah. So get yourselves over to Fight. We haven't got any promo codes to give you, I'm afraid, because
Not yet, at least.
not yet. We keep asking, but they keep turning us down. But stick with us. We'll give you some codes one day. But yeah, get yourselves over to Fight TV and seriously go out your way. Watch Spring Break 4 just for that Ricky Morton and Joey Janela match, and just be amazed at a crazy near 70-year-old man turning back the clock. Oh man, talking about turning back the clock. See what I did there? We're going.
Nice.
We're going. Thank you. We're going to go back and look at our past pieces that have been released or published this week, I should say. Normally, this is where I hand over to Mark, because Mark is our editor-in-chief. He's the head honcho. He knows the ins and outs of everything, whereas I am just an editor, and I kind of not read everything. With Mark not here today, I'm now doing this job for him. But luckily, the pieces that he's chosen, I've already read. So, one up, big up, gold stars to me. So his first piece is by our resident historian, as I called him on Facebook a few days ago, Mike Bryan. He's speaking about the time Bret Hart won his first WWF Championship. Now, it's a big momentous occasion, winning your first major title. How kind of big would it be to win your first WWF title on October 12th in 1992 at a house show? That's right, not televised, but at a house show. It was in Saskatoon I can't even pronounce the province. Go on. Is it Saskatchewan?
It's Saskatchewan.
I was close. Look at that. In Canada. And he won the title, beating the legendary Ric Flair in a match that was, I think, has not long gone onto the WWE Network.
No, it's on the WWE Network.
Yeah, it's not long gone on there. It's been a few months it went on there, and Mike brilliantly breaks down the match. He pretty much gives you a match report.
It's a play-by-play, really.
It really is. It's so in depth. It's very good. He gives you background on Bret. If you don't know who Bret is, and Ric Flair, gives you background on that. He talks about Calgary Stampede Wrestling, which obviously Bret's dad Stu ran and has the Heart Dungeon, which so many people have come through. Talks about Ric Flair and how he had Kurt Hennig, aka Mr. Perfect, in the corner, and it was just a moment by moment breakdown of the entire match. It's a great piece. It's something that I don't think we'll ever see again, where a title, the main title of the promotion, will change on a house show. For two reasons. One, there's no touring at the moment, so there's no live events. And two, the wrestling landscape has changed dramatically since this time. You go to a live event show now just to be entertained, whereas before, back in those days, there was always a slight possibility there might be a title switch and maybe a tag team championship, but never anything to this proportion. But please go out of your way, go back, read Mike's piece. It is well worth looking out for. Did you read it? Did you see the match? Do you remember anything? Well, obviously you're too young to remember anything, but
Well, like had I known this was going to be covered in the podcast today, I probably would have called my dad to talk about it because he used to watch Bret Hart back in Stampede.
oh wow.
So yeah, like growing up, it was a Bret Hart household, and and so yeah, we switched to WCW and he left WWF. We watched kind of as that fizzled, and then well, I suppose I'll tell them the story of my journey into this world of pro wrestling at a later
Yeah.
date. But definitely a big part of it was Bret Hart, and
Yeah.
I have seen this match because it was released on home video later on, and I'm pretty sure WWE Classics was a show that they had here on what do they call it? Sportsnet? No, The Score. And yeah, I remember watching and seeing this match one day, and of course I gotta watch because it's Bret Hart versus Ric Flair. You know, I didn't even, and to find out that later on that it was the championship match and it wasn't even on TV. That was just like, come on, like why wasn't it? What happened? But yeah, that's my takeaway here. At least my input.
Yeah, it's just a great. I keep saying great. I'm going to find another adjective for next week, but it's just a great piece from Mike, who's like I said, steadily becoming a bit pretty much a historian, writing these pieces from about things from yesteryear, going from yesteryear to literally a couple of days ago. Our very own Jake Landmesser had the opportunity to have a couple of words with Deonna Purrazzo, the Impact Wrestling Women's Knockouts Champion. I've forgotten her bloody nickname. What is her nickname?
The Virtuosa.
Thank you, the Virtuosa. I apologise, folks. I've already said it's been a long week.
You can always trust me to know about the Impact stuff because I brace for Impact every Monday. Read it on the Post website.
There we go. There we go. He had a few moments to talk to Deonna. Asked her what if having a 30-day non-compete helped her land her spot in Impact rather than everyone else that had a 90-day non-compete when they got released from WWE earlier in the year. I'm not going to go into details and tell you all about it when we need you and want you to go and read it yourselves. But she does explain that obviously it does help, or did help, and going there, knowing that people like the Good Brothers and Heath and others were following her coattails, so to speak, she knew that she had some friends coming. I don't think she expected to be thrust into the limelight as quickly as she has been, but it has been one hell of a move for Deonna, and I'm sure our resident Brace for Impact champion, there we go, every Monday, our expert there. What do you think?
Deonna Purrazzo, she's kind of thrown in. She came about at the time where a lot of the women's roster was still kind of coming back from COVID. Everyone had been under lockdown, and I think that really, like her taking the championship from Jordynne Grace so soon after debuting, really kind of lit a fire in the women's division. Because I think there's a lot more going on now that Deonna's the champion and everyone's kind of coming back than there was prior to that. And now we're seeing Impact start to really thrive because they've got a stacked tag division. Women's division's really strong. Main event scene not quite there yet, but it's coming. And there's some stuff going down with the X Division Championship, but I think that's the thing I'm going to save for my Bound for Glory preview, which you can read next week on the Pro Wrestling Post website.
So smooth, so effortlessly smooth, so good. But yes, his BFG preview will be next week, along with his usual
Race for Impact every Monday.
There it is. So he's a busy guy. next week is our Pete. He will be having the BFG preview and the Impact preview next week. We shall be discussing both and BFG next week. So we'll be calling on Pete's Impact knowledge even more so next week. From there, we are going to finish up with a very momentous show from last night. It was AEW's first anniversary show. Can you really believe it has been a year since they first aired? That's insane.
It's actually been longer than a year since they first aired, because it was I think last week we crossed the 365-day mark.
That's right.
But something a little more important took precedence, and we had the Chris Jericho 30th anniversary show. But yeah, this week, this very big show, every title on the line. Seemed kind of like one of their specials almost.
Yes. You know how like NXT have like the In Your House specials or the upcoming Halloween Havoc specials? That's the kind of vibe I've got off this. I didn't get a big feel, like a birthday feel kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was like as we spoke about before we jumped on air, it was like, quick, we've got to do something for our anniversary. Let's just put all the championships up on the line. It felt rushed. Not putting down any of the matches, because there's
they were some great matches.
Some bangers.
Bangers.
Best
friends versus Well, we'll get into that.
They were the slap, apparently. I can't make that work. I've tried. Since you told me this a couple of weeks ago, I've really tried to get that over with my kid, and no, he's not having it. But anyway, let's get into this. So we started off with a flipping amazing match. It was AEW Tag Team Championships, FTR against Best Friends. In FTR's corner was Tully Blanchard, as always. This was quite a hot start to a show.
Oh yeah, that's some seriously fast-paced action. You had the mix of styles. You had Best Friends with their kind of indie hybrid lucha puro style, and then you have FTR, no flips, just fists, doing their very technical thing. Beautiful to see, because you got the two kind of unexpectedly Best Friends, I should say, kind of unexpectedly rising up the tag team division since their parking lot brawl. Really, that Dave Meltzer 5-star rating giving them a hell of a lot of momentum.
Mm-hmm.
And to see them like this was a match that I thought could really seriously mess up all the planning they've been doing for FTR versus the Young Bucks. I thought that was going to put the whole thing in jeopardy.
I'm going to say something here that I'm going to carry on throughout the rest of this AEW part. Now, I found out that FTR in AEW are 11-0 in the rankings. Best Friends have won 17 times in 2020. Rankings should mean something, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Remember that a bit later on, okay? But yes, this match was so good. FTR. I'm a 43-year-old man, and I can appreciate wrestling differently than my now 9-year-old son. He cannot understand why I like FTR so much. He calls them boring. He calls them just, they're not flashy. That's his words, not flashy. To my retort is, that's the whole point. Because every tag team is now flashy. Every tag team is this. I do sound like an old veteran fart here. I'm really sorry. But FTR are my brainbusters from when I was a kid. I couldn't stand the brainbusters when I was a kid. Tully and Arn back in WWE. I couldn't stand them, but they were technically perfect, and they made every match, no matter who they had across them in the ring, special. And that's what FTR are doing now. It doesn't matter who you could have Yoshihiro and the Invisible Man, and they would still put on a 4-star match against them. I
could see them putting on a really good match against Tajiri and the Invisible.
They are
Yoshihiko. That's the one.
Yoshihiko. Sorry, yeah. But they are so damn good. And again, Best Friends. You said it there. They've been quietly climbing the ranks, and their confidence is through the roof now. especially after the backyard the brawl they had,
Parking lot brawl.
It was such a good match, and
Yeah,
nothing but good words.
Yeah,
Nothing but good words.
Really, the only reason they lost was because of the standard FTR shenanigans.
Yeah, I mean, we all love a bit of shenanigans, don't we?
Oh yeah, when it allows a heel to scramble away.
A foreign object to win, you know, it doesn't happen too often, does it? Really?
Not in AEW, at least.
Exactly. I've seen quite a lot of people online say that FTR, you know, using foreign objects, picking up the win. I mean, come on, it doesn't happen a lot. It's not like WWE from 5 years ago, where every other finish was a bloody foreign object or a DQ or whatever.
Yeah, a roll up.
All right. The dreaded roll up. Oh my word! So we go from that match, and at the end of this match, Skip Sabian and the best man Miro came out, absolutely beat the living crap out of the best friends. And you'll tell him the reason why.
Well, it's because that Chuck Taylor and Trent broke their Street Fighter machine. Because last week, Miro and Kip Sabian appeared in the crowd with a full Street Fighter machine, just hanging out, not even paying attention to the show.
If that is a vintage machine, I would be 100% behind them, because that would cost a fortune. I kind of am too. That would cost a fortune.
Yeah, like I've heard Miro talk about some of the stuff he has, like some of the like vintage arcade cabinets he has. Oh, and if that was, I hope that was one they just put together for the show.
I'm hoping, yeah, it was just a dummy one, or just a crappy $100 one you bought down a thrift store or something. But but yeah, wow. But he did come out and he looked bloody strong.
Did you see who they were fighting? When they had their match later on. Sorry, we didn't. We kind of glossed over the part where they Kip Sabian and Miro stayed in the ring for their match, which was next.
A very quick match.
Yeah, they're just still trying to get Miro and Kip Sabian over, but they did fight someone interesting, Sean Maluta.
That's the name I caught. Yeah,
recently released from NXT.
Yeah, so it's nice to see get used. You know, get picked up very quickly as well. I've seen him a couple of times on NXT, and there was something about him. You could definitely see there was something there. So seeing him get picked up is, I'm quite happy with that. I'm not happy. Well, I am happy because Miro beat the crap out of the pair of them, but you know, any exposure is good exposure for Sean.
Mm-hmm. And well, I mean, they're still trying to get him over in the new company. We also got the full bracket for the AEW World Championship number one contendership tournament.
I mean, we spoke about this last week, the three of us, you, me, and Mark. And
we did.
We got this totally wrong, didn't we?
Yeah. Well, actually, no. I want to give Mark some credit here, because he actually predicted at least one of the matches correctly.
Yeah, he did.
He corrected that Penta El Zero Miedo was going to take on Rey Fenix in the first round, and lo and behold, that's what they announced.
I'm confused, very confused. Where's Brody Lee? Where's MJF? I know we'll talk about MJF in a minute, so I can kind of see why he's not involved. But Brody Lee has just been forgotten about.
Yeah, he's just kind of got bumped off by Cody, and now he's back to the shadows, or at the very least, he's just going to be in Colt Cabana's corner.
That's my next thing, because Colt Cabana's been paired off against Hangman Adam Page.
Mm-hmm.
Could you see Colt Cabana being like moving to one side to let Brody take his place? Could it be allowed?
Yeah, that's the big question here. Maybe.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. I think they kind of gave the game away when they had Hangman Page and Kenny Omega on opposite sides of the bracket.
Yeah.
You know, I think maybe. Yeah, I think at this when we kind of see what the feud is going to be coming out of this, I think it's kind of easy to. It'd be simpler to just have Colt Cabana eat the pin. Though I do remember do remember Hangman Page saying in his wonderful press release that he didn't want to face Colt Cabana. So maybe I'm entirely wrong about them giving the game away.
Oh, I don't know. You can't leave their issues unresolved. I mean, they have. I don't think they've even spoken to each other. Kayfabe.
No, not on TV at least.
Yeah, since their little split. It's I'm looking at the picture now. So you've got Colt Cabana against Hangman Page. You've got Penta against Rey Fenix. You have Kenny Omega against Joey Janela. That's come out of nowhere. And then you've got Wardlow against Jungle Boy. So I'll take you back 5 minutes and I'll start talking to you about rankings. Where the hell's the rankings in this? Because there's no way Joey should be on there.
Mm-hmm. Or, if I'm to be honest, Colt Cabana.
Or Colt, yeah. I was about to say the same thing. It's very strange. They banged on about the rankings for so long. Oh, they mean something. It will, whoever's top of the rankings will get the shot. Well, the rankings should be used for a world title eliminator tournament.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the men's rankings right now. In the top 5, you have Lance Archer, Brian Cage, MJF, Brody Lee, and Scorpio Sky. You'll notice none of those names.
Nope, not one.
Are in this number 1 contendership tournament. Now, fair play to them. I think that adding the TNT Championship has kind of made things a little wonky there. Maybe these people that we're seeing at the top of the men's rankings will have a shot at Cody's TNT Championship. But where are the deeper rankings? Where exactly are these guys in contendership order? If we're supposed to look at it like rankings have meaning.
I'm not sure, but you have got some very interesting matches. So Kenny against Joey. Joey is, how can I put this? I love Joey, as I've mentioned earlier in the spring break. I love Joey, but he is going to get beaten up basically by Kenny Omega.
Pretty bad.
He's going to eat so many V triggers. It's going to be unreal. I'm actually going to, when they actually face off, I'm going to sit here and count how many V triggers he eats. Bless him. But then you've got Wardlow against Jungle Boy, and who last week? I can't remember who said it. Said that this match was going to happen, because I'm sure someone said. Was it you?
I want to say it was me, but I think I just said it was going to be big guys against little guys. That's the only thing I remember I said for certain.
Kudos to you for calling that. That's gonna.
Did I?
I'm sure.
I'll accept the kudos.
Yeah, take it. It's all good. Mark's not here. It's all good. Take it.
Okay, yeah. I did it.
So,
and you know what? I called Penta versus Rey Fenix in the first round too. Hungry for fame.
Wardlow is I think he's going to go over Jungle Boy, and he's going to demolish Jungle Boy, which, as you said, is going to bring out Luchasaurus.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to get that match at Full Gear probably.
I can see that happening at Full Gear. So Luchasaurus is going to.
Wait a moment.
Nope.
I think we've missed something here.
What have we missed?
This number 1 contenders tournament concludes at Full Gear.
Yeah, but it starts next week. So
yeah, it begins next week. But
so if Wardlow gets eliminated, which I think we're both going to say is going to happen, and if it is Luchasaurus that costs Wardlow the chance of victory, then their match could possibly happen at Full Gear.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then the match that I can't understand is Penta against Rey. Why pit them together? I don't understand.
I think that it's probably based around their body of work against each other. Because I've seen them face off in Lucha Underground. I've seen them face off in AAA a few times.
I mean, there's no denying they are. The chemistry between the two is obviously there to see because they're real life brothers.
Yeah,
but storyline wise, I don't understand why they've been paired up against each other. They're going to have an amazing match no matter what, but storyline wise, I don't know.
Maybe, just maybe, because they've joined forces with Eddie Kingston and Brian Cage and Ricky Stark and Lance Archer. that's a really weird bunch to get mixed together, if you ask me. But I think that it was just kind of. I think it's Eddie Kingston's way of like hedging his bets, trying to get both these guys into the
Yeah,
tournament so that he's got two shots of having a friend of his,
I
take
could
on
s-
the champion.
I could see that. We're gonna talk about Eddie a bit later. I am just quickly before we get to Eddie. I'm turning into such an Eddie Kingston mark. That's all I'm going to say. He's really, really, really grown on me in the past 2 months. So that's the world title tournament done. I'm not. I'm going to be positive. It's going to have some great matches. I'm hoping the storylines coming out of it are going to go somewhere. And as long as we get Kenny and Paige in the finals where they can beat 10 tons of crap at each other at Full Gear, I don't mind. So from that announcement, we then went to a bit of a in-ring promo with one of the the industry's greatest heels, MJF. Do
Yeah.
you want to take this? Because I know you're really excited.
Well, I had the last two. You can take it.
MJF basically came to the ring and wanted to talk to his hopefully new best friend, Chris Jericho. Chris came out with all of the inner circle, all wearing the lovely Ribera-esque jackets that MJF bought them, including Sammy's, who looked like his jacket was 5-6 times too big for him. It looked like, when like you're a kid and you're like 9 or 10, you put on your father's jacket and it comes down to your knees and the arms are hanging out for you. It looked like that on Sammy. It was proper hilarious. Basically, long story short, he wants to join the inner circle. Jericho was like, whoa, 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 slow up, slow up. We'll have a think about it. But next week, you and me, we're going on a dinner date. They're going for a steak dinner to discuss whether or not he shall be joining the inner circle. The segment itself, in my eyes, went a tad bit long. It did get a bit stale and boring towards the end. But is it wrong that I'm really looking forward to watching them eat eat a steak dinner? I've got in my head, I've got like a WWE table for free in my head kind of scenario for next week. It's I'm looking forward to it. I know I'm going to get panned for it, but it's Jericho, it's MJF. It can't go wrong, surely.
I can see where what you're getting at there, and yeah, they're two wrestlers sitting down to a dinner in a nice restaurant. I think we've watched enough pro wrestling to see that there's kind of only one place for this to go, and it ends in a big mess.
It will, won't it? It will. It's going to involve the turning of Jericho into a face, surely.
Maybe. I think Chris is probably going to spend the rest of his as long as he still has the inner circle. I think he's going to be on that heel path.
Is he going to be down that cool heel path that we spoke about, like with the NWO? Is he going to be?
That's where I'm thinking he's probably gonna leave on that note.
Yeah.
It's yeah, he mentioned that he wanted to retire soon, and he mentioned he wants to do it against Lance Storm.
That's right. Yes, and on his pod, was it last week or week before? He had Lance on there to talk about their first ever match, which was bloody really interesting, actually, very interesting. So, even in the real world, he's laying the seeds there. We go to a blonde Cody again. He's bleached his hair. Does he bleach his hair when he's like champion now? Is that what he does?
I think that he well, when he came back, after he came back, he did a promo talking about what people have been saying about his new style, about how he should probably, how this might be a hint that he's following a darker path now. And you know what? I also said on the show that when he returned, he was wearing Dark Order colors. So I thought maybe that was a hint at something, and maybe he just got tired of telling people that seeing people sort of speculate about a Cody Rhodes or can't use that Cody heel turn, and yeah, maybe he went back to blonde just to shut them all up. But here's the thing: you can't really go from jet black to platinum blonde, so he looks kind of strawberry blonde now.
It does, yeah. Bless him.
Looks oh, what was his name? Dino Bravo. No,
Oh my word. Yeah. Dino Bravo, yeah.
no, I'm thinking of a different Ronnie Garvin.
Ronnie Garvin. Yeah, there's another platinum blonde guy. Yeah. Cody came out to defend his TNT title against the one and only Orange Cassidy. Oh, I had high hopes for this match, and I think due to the finish, it didn't live up to its expectations, because halfway through this match, it felt like they were padding for time. They were going through the motions to get to the finish. So, folks, this I shouldn't be putting this down. It's a good match. It's a very good match.
Really good match.
But the finish was a 20-minute time limit draw, and that means Cody retains the title. And it wasn't just the bell runs out. It's literally was it Cody was pinning.
No, it was Orange Cassidy had
Orange.
Yeah, he had Cody in that little crucifix pin.
Yeah.
That he's been doing. The same one he used to beat Ricky Shane Page. And as he was about to get the 3 count, the time ran out.
It was, to be fair, the padding of the middle of the match worked, because this finish was spot on time wise. Absolutely spot on. Unfortunately for you guys, this is where I haven't seen the rest of the show, because this is as far as I got up to. So I'm gonna let Pete take over. But this match, it was really good. I was enjoying the match. I did feel like, as I said halfway through during the match, it felt like they were just how can I put it? Wrestling for wrestling's sake. They were holding on to holds a bit too long. They were just padding, and then obviously it makes sense at the end. So as a whole, that match was really good. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, and I think what I got out of this match was seeing Orange Cassidy do some technical stuff.
Yeah.
And to see how very technically skilled he is, because I saw him do lots of reversals, lots of arm drags, lots of very, very technical amateur style stuff. And so I think that's going to be, I hope that at least that's something we're going to see more from Orange Cassidy in the future.
Well, we discussed this last week, didn't we? About how, if he ever won the title or a title, how would he like push forward from there? And as we all agreed last week and said, that each week we're seeing a bit more character out of him, and now in the ring we're seeing a bit more fire, a bit more oomph. Seeing this, I mean, didn't JR at the beginning say that the lockup that he had with Cody was the first lockup he's had in AEW?
Yep. Yeah,
I mean,
I don't think I've ever seen anyone get that big a reaction from just a collar and elbow.
From a lockup, yeah, it's insane. So everything he does is making sense. It's getting over. He's doing everything right. I'm telling you now, in a year's time, Orange Cassidy is going to be top tier main event talent. Maybe like 9 months, but he will be up there, top tier main event talent.
Oh, we didn't mention the very near interference in this match.
Yeah, at the beginning, as the match was starting, right up in Sting's territory, just watching, and then it was announced that he will face the winner. Is it a Full Gear? Did I read that?
I actually. Oh yeah, he does. Yes, he gets a shot at the TNT Championship at Full Gear.
So he gets a shot at Cody at Full Gear, or is it Cody? Is it Cody? Because
in 2 weeks' time, we are going to see a rematch.
So I'm kind of thinking they could be going down the triple threat route.
That's my thoughts as well. And wouldn't that be the first triple threat in? No, because they had I think there was a triple threat at All Out
for a title.
Yes, it'll be your first triple threat for a championship.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was talking about interference on behalf of the Dark Order because John Silver grabbed the title belt and he was going to whack Cody with it, and then Orange Cassidy managed to rip it away from him, and then referee threw them all out. I love when that happens. It happens quite a fair bit in AEW, but I love it most whenever Aubrey Edwards does it, and sadly she wasn't the ref for this match. She does a big roll with her hands before she.
That's right. Yeah. She
That's-
gets the crowd going. She's like, "Whoa, you're out here like that."
Yeah, it's great. Next we had a selection for the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team. Well, no, that's 1, 2, 3, 5. Sorry, 6-way match for the number one contenders for the Tag Team Championship. Private Party versus John Silver and Alex Reynolds versus the Butcher and the Blade versus the Young Bucks. Sorry, that is 14 because there's a lot of ands in there. But yeah, that'll be an interesting match. They were all kind of picked randomly out of a big lotto drum, and yeah, Young Bucks super kicked everybody.
I'd like to go back to what I said about 5 minutes ago about rankings, because once again, rankings don't seem to mean anything, even if there is tag team rankings. But
There is, and I'm pretty sure they are on the rankings. Let's see what tag team rankings here.
I'm not sure about Silver and Reynolds.
No, it's top 5 in. So they got 2 of the teams in the top 5.
The Bucks and
the Bucks and the Butcher and the Blade.
Butcher Blade, yeah. But again, you know, I'm being picky. Folks, I am. I'm being picky. If you're going to say you're going to do something, then stick to it. Don't suddenly dip out of it. I remember the times when Eric Bischoff said not Impact, TNA back in the day, that there was going to be some ranking system, and that lasted all of 3 months, I think, if that, before that got scrapped. If you're going to say, like I said, if you're going to say something, stick to it. If the rankings mean something, you've got to make them mean something. And if they're going to do things like this, it's making a mockery of what they said. So that's my only downside.
This is the thing we see all the time, is that people who aren't number one contenders get title shots.
Yeah.
We saw that in Impact. We see it in WWE. I guess it's kind of something that, at least while a significant chunk of the roster, I guess not so much in AEW anymore, but on at least for WWE and Impact Wrestling, while there's still a chunk of the roster that's sorting themselves out, it's an option to at least have action in the division.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can understand that. But it grinds my gears.
Anyway, after that we had Hikaru Shida versus Big Swole. Shida defending the AEW Women's World Championship. Not much to say about this, really. Kind of a bland babyface versus babyface match. Lots of 2 counts, lots of strikes, some very Puro-like stuff coming from Shida and Big Swole.
Cool.
Shida wins, elbow to the face, running knee to the back of the head, sliding knee to the face, and that'll be it.
I do like Shida. She's impressed me from the first time I saw her. I just feel like the caliber of opponent isn't up to her standards yet, which is why I think the matches haven't come off as well as everyone hopes them to be.
I'm there with you, because we've had it's a division that's had such a rocky beginning.
Yeah.
When you think about how things went with Riho, how things went with Nyla Rose,
yeah.
And now who's really in the women's division? We're not seeing Chris Statlander around much. Eva Lise just signed with the company. A lot of the women are kind of just finding their footing on Dark, and we don't have the Nightmare Collective anymore. So that's a big part of the women's division that's gone.
But hopefully Shida will get Eva Lise. I mean, Eva Lise can go. I mean, we all know that she's a great talent. Has been a great talent for years. So could get Eva Lise up the rankings. Britt Baker's obviously looking to come up there at some point, but we'll see how it goes. We're all positive for the women's division.
And then finally, on the show. We had Jon Moxley and Lance Archer facing each other for the AEW World Championship in a match that they earlier in the show revealed was going to be a no DQ match. Or I think they actually had to alter it to be a no DQ match because they were just so in each other's face.
Yeah.
They couldn't contain each other. Really, what I expected from a TV no DQ championship match. Moxley coming out fast, hitting a paradigm shift off the bat, shoving each other to the floor. Lots of hardware. They set up tables. There was chairs. Lots of TV friendly deathmatch stuff, you know. And sent Archer through the tables with a paradigm shift. Hit a bunch of them, really. Thought he was going to win with the Bulldog choke because that's what he's been doing a lot lately.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Moxley countered the blackout to get a 3 count in the win. Not sure what they're hoping to do with Lance Archer because he had been absolutely destroying people backstage, and I'm guessing he also was cutting a path of destruction through Dark. Seems like now that he's in the main event scene that he's kind of just there.
Yeah.
Especially because he's surrounded by Eddie Kingston and Brian Cage and all those guys.
Is he going to get overshadowed now? Because as you said, when he first turned up, he went on a tear. They built him up to be some kind of beast, which he bloody is. He's huge, and every time he's taken a chunk at the big time, it's gone wrong. So is it? I I don't want to class him in the same class as Braun Strowman, but with Braun and his crappy booking, I have a really bad feeling that Lance Archer is going to be going down that route where he's just going to be a big guy who sometimes gets big victories, not a big guy who gets big victories all the time.
Yeah, that's. Well, I mean, it seems more adequate or accurate to describe that's kind of how Lance Archer's going, because Strowman can get big wins when he needs to. Looking at WrestleMania and his various defenses after that. But yeah, he's lost against Cody for the TNT Championship in the finals of that, and he's now lost to Moxley. I think they've had a few matches together now, or am I just remembering their battles in New Japan? That's the thing. I thought they were brought up more.
But yeah, it's not looking good. But he, as you said there, he's kind of aligned himself with Eddie Kingston and Brian Cage, the Lucha Bros or the Lunch Bros, if you're a fan of Hangman Page. That could save him or bury him even more. It we'll see. But didn't something happen afterwards? It was like I heard that Archer went after Moxley after the match, and then Eddie kind of broke it up somehow.
Yes. Yeah, Archer kicked Moxley down, and Kingston told Phoenix and Penta to help him. Phoenix hit Archer with a chair. And he was not happy about that. And then Kingston said just kind of gave Moxley kind of gave him the rub a little bit, and then puts him over. Says he had a great match, even though he didn't tap out, which Kingston passed out. Then he hit Moxley with a spinning back fist and put him in a chokehold. So Kingston then walks away with the championship. Says he never quit. That's
I said at the beginning of this little segment that I am falling in love with Eddie Kingston. I knew Eddie and have done for quite a few years, but I've never really followed his work. So seeing him on national TV, getting a platform like this, a huge platform, worldwide platform, to show his wares, has made me a fan. He is so good. The guy can talk. He talks so well. He can back it up. He's great in the ring. Yeah, all right. He's had his fair share of death matches, but so what? Just because you're a deathmatch wrestler doesn't mean you can't wrestle. And he's proving that each and every week. I have a sneaking suspicion that Kingston's going to beat Moxley for the title.
That's That seems kind of iffy to me, especially considering like what Moxley's accomplished as champion.
I don't think he will keep it for long,
Mm-hmm.
but I do think he will beat him for the title through shenanigans and having having his group. And then you're just going to put Moxley back as to where he was against Chris Jericho. He's going to be fighting his way back up again, fighting his way through the group to get his title back. That's what I think. Because at the moment, there's not really much out there in the way of legitimate contenders. He's done Archer, who hasn't looked good.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie, he's beaten, but he didn't tap out or pin. Who else is in that group? The Lucha Brothers, well, without sounding rude, they're a bit beneath him because they're a tag team. Brian Cage. I think has he done Brian Cage? I think he's beaten Brian Cage.
He did beat Brian Cage.
So all these people have got a gripe against him, and they're all sort of ganging up to get that title off of him. So that's what I can see. I've said this before. I've now said it. It's not going to bloody happen, but that's my imagining of events.
Well, now that you mention it, I'm starting to think about all of this other stuff that's going on, because we talk about Darby Allin and how he's going to get his title shot at Full Gear.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, doesn't he still have unfinished business with Ricky Starks?
Yeah.
We're talking about Sammy Guevara versus Matt Hardy, but Sammy's also got some beef with MJF brewing.
Yeah.
Starting to wonder if maybe there are too many plates spinning in AEW.
It depends on how long. Back to our favourite topic, folks. How long they're looking at booking these stories. Some of them are going to get sorted by Full Gear.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them are going to go a bit longer. I can see. Now you've said that, I could possibly see a Sammy face turn for next year? Ready for All Out or what's before that? Double or Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It could. It's he might not get booted out of the Inner Circle, but MJF will come in and he will force, or he'll just be a dick to Sammy, and then no one sees it. So Sammy's got to try and show everyone that MJF's being a dick to him, kind of thing, and turn him like a slow face turn that way. If Jericho's not going to turn face, that could work. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it just depends on how long they're going to go with these booking with the forward planning with bookings. In my opinion, again.
Yeah. That's a lot to take in.
Yes, it is a lot to take in. We've gone very long this evening.
Yeah.
We've got no Mark to keep us in check. We're sorry, folks. Well, hopefully we've kept you entertained. As I said, hopefully Mark will be here next week after he's back from his ventures in Durkistan. Please, if you guys get that joke, just hit us up on the Twitter. Give us your love for the Durkistan jokes. Yeah, that's about it for this week. We've got no future pieces because we've gone super long. What's your socials?
You can find me on Twitter at PeteProbably. You can read my feature, Brace for Impact, every Monday on the Pro Wrestling Post website. And you can find me in a crate in a government warehouse being watched over by top men.
Do you know what? I actually did watch Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. When did I watch it? I think it was Saturday evening last week. I watched that. And now I may have to watch another film. I'm not going to spoil it because you can work it out for yourselves. Mm-hmm. But that's one of my favourite films of all time, by the way. What you just mentioned right there. I am Mark Blake PWP on Twitter. And you can find the podcast Twitter at PWP_pod. As always, both those.
We're not going to plug Mark?
It's not here. I don't see why. So Mark is at the Mark Madison on Twitter. And then you've got the Pro Wrestling Post Twitter, which is at Pro Wrestling PST. And just to let you know that if and when Twitter allows more characters, he is first in line for the letter O. So that's it once again for another Pro Wrestling Post podcast. We will be back next week. The one thing we will be talking about next week for sure is the G1 finals. That's right. The mammoth G1 is coming to a close. We haven't covered it for a couple of weeks. And there is going to be some matches. So until then, we shall see you Bye bye. Adios.
Sayonara.